So my family produces beef cattle and also wine grapes. And especially kind of in the grape market, where in the United States, we're experimenting with varieties that grow very well here, but that are popular globally when we're in competition with wines that are produced in South America, Australia, Europe, and trying to think through what those look like. And when we think about producer challenges, there's a number of them, but one of the ones that I hear that occurs most frequently across all types of crops is that of climate change, and trying to think through how we're going to address pieces that are impacting us. A lot of the conversation now is around the fact that with changing implications of climate and the need to do more mechanized things because of the cost of labor, we may be looking at new varietals that are not things that current customers are consuming at this time. And so how do we sort of develop the market value of a new product while at the same time thinking about the things that we're going to need to be able to grow it at a maximum production rate and also sustainably into the future? Farmers have a great desire to be responsible in establishing best management practices and doing what it is that they need to do. And primarily for some of the challenges that have been mentioned. I think some of the pieces that go with that, though, are areas of research around disease and pest management in particular, thinking through varietals and crops that can be managed in a way that help us deal with things. I think because of the expense of labor and the cost of the inputs, that's where we have some opportunity for innovative improvements around precision technology and things that allow us to better target application of nutrients and pesticides. Those machines, in being highly specialized, are also extremely costly. So I think some of the innovations actually are coming from the producer side, where they are thinking more cooperatively about how to share equipment, for example, or figure out a way to coordinate their efforts so that they can share labor pools, order chemicals in bulk, and be able to share some of those costs. Extension as a service and what it means for facilitating research that's conducted and then taken to the field and applied through practice, and the communication and education pieces that go with that are really important around the world. A step up on that type partnership, I think, that I've seen work really well is as a member of an industry board of directors that supports an industry in the state. So for example, in the grape industry, the sales that come in off of the products that are made from those grapes go directly back into continued research for those crops. The people that are on that board that represent growers and represent business owners help articulate the research agenda for the industry and help determine which research projects get funded. Those kinds of partnerships are really, really valuable because we've got sort of crop science and production pieces of it, but then the connection with the people that are receiving that food product and giving them an opportunity to reinvest into the research that helps it continue. I think this is a really fascinating question and good to unpack. We know that, obviously there's a desire to implement new technologies in innovative ways in agriculture, but I think sometimes, even though technology seems to be advancing at a very quick pace, the specialized technologies that we need in agriculture often take much longer to develop. And then the other piece of that I'm not sure that all consumers really understand is that in order to get things to the marketplace for them and for their convenience, there is a lot of risk, especially for the producers, in doing that. When a new chemical or a new machine is being used on someone's farm, if it does not go as expected and they potentially lose an entire crop cycle as a result of it, that financial burden is then very much on the part of that farmer. And if it's a small farming operation, that's difficult to bear. And so I think sometimes in consumers' zeal to learn about where their food comes from and how it's produced, really understanding the full picture of that system, and that sometimes there are independent people in that who have a lot to lose and are very small in their footprint, but at the same time critical in helping meet the bigger demand.